The story that everyone knew was happening, but also doubted would ever actually happen, has finally happened. Checo-out, or Chec-out as it's become known among fans, finally happened yesterday, with Sergio Perez and Red Bull Racing announcing they would be parting ways before the 2025 Formula One season. It was an eventuality that many expected, but one that no one could be sure of, despite the terrible performances that Perez put in throughout the 2024 season. It is an exciting time for the Red Bull team, with plenty of talent in their youth pool, but are they about to make a terrible decision? Today, I'll check out Perez's exit from the Red Bull team and how they're about to stumble into the same horrible mistake they keep making. So don't go anywhere. Let's start with Perez and his exit from Red Bull. The now ex-world champions, who extended Perez's deal to the end of the 2026 season at the beginning of June, have made the change following a torrid run of results for the Mexican this year. The 34-year-old, who has raced in F1 for 14 consecutive seasons, finished 8th in the Drivers' Championship, a mammoth 285 points behind his teammate and eventual Drivers' Champion Max Verstappen. It was a dearth in performance which eventually cost Red Bull the Constructors' Championship to McLaren, a result which seemed to finally break the patience of team boss Christian Horner. Perez, who has essentially been sacked despite the statements saying polite things about the two parties deciding to part ways, said, "I'm incredibly grateful for the past 4 years with Red Bull Racing and for the opportunity to race with such an amazing team. Driving for Red Bull has been an unforgettable experience, and I'll always cherish the success we achieved together. We broke records, reached remarkable milestones, and I've had the privilege of meeting so many incredible people along the way. A big thank you to every person in the team, from management, engineers and mechanics, catering, hospitality, kitchen, marketing and communications, as well as everyone at Milton Keynes. I wish you all the best for the future. It's also been an honor to race alongside Max as a teammate all these years and to share in our success." Team principal Christian Horner was also full of praise for Perez in Red Bull's announcement of the driver change. He said he was an extraordinary team player who will be greatly missed and who will be a treasured part of Red Bull's history. And to be fair, Perez has been an incredible part of Red Bull's history. Checo, who joined Red Bull at the start of 2021, was instrumental in helping Verstappen win his first F1 World Championship, memorably defending in valiant fashion against Lewis Hamilton midway through the controversial season-ending Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Breaking the Mercedes stranglehold on the sport took a Herculean effort from Red Bull, and Perez was an important part of that. He continued to be an important part of the team after that. He picked up wins in Monaco and Singapore in 2022 as Red Bull won their first Constructors' title since 2013, and then looked set to challenge for the title last year when he won in Saudi Arabia and Azerbaijan. While that title challenge never actually materialized, he did secure second place in the Drivers' Championship, giving Red Bull a first-ever 1-2 finish in the individual competition. The last year and a half have been problematic for Checo, though. Despite being armed with the quickest car, Perez has not won since Baku last April, while Verstappen has claimed 25 victories in that same period. The 34-year-old started this season well, with 4 podiums in 5 races, but his form has slumped dramatically. He's not finished in the top 6 since round 6 in Miami in May. His final home race in Mexico City in October also ended in humiliating fashion, as he finished last following a Q1 elimination the previous day. Red Bull's eventual decision to drop Perez raises questions about the decision-making of Christian Horner, who made the choice back in May to sign him until the end of 2026. The move came at the start of a slump in form from Perez, which echoed a similar decline in 2023, and Horner said the intention was to allow him to recover his confidence. That didn't happen though, and Perez's inability to get close to Verstappen's performances was a significant factor in Red Bull losing the Constructors' Championship. Horner re-signed Perez, giving him a 2-year extension that seemed inexplicable to many in F1, rather than taking Carlos Sainz, who is being replaced at Ferrari next season by Lewis Hamilton. The basis for the decision was apparently tension that existed between the Verstappen and Sainz camps when the drivers were paired at Red Bull's junior team in 2015 and early 2016. But Verstappen's father, Jos Verstappen, said he'd never expressed a preference for Sainz not to rejoin Red Bull. Also, you would hope that after almost a decade apart and a lot of growing up, the two drivers and their teams had gotten over any kind of tension that was there. ESPN reported that Red Bull quickly came to regret the extension they gave to Perez, one that was negotiated by his manager, Julian Jacobi, a paddock legend from stints overseeing the careers of Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. It is understood that he drove a hard bargain at both ends of the deal, both when signing it and when Red Bull started talking about the parties moving on late in the year. To be fair, that is a manager's job, and Horner should never have let himself get bullied into the situation he did, with Checo signed on till 2026. That is now all behind them though. Horner will be left licking his wounds, Perez is presumably walking away with a big bag of money, and Red Bull can turn their attention to picking a new driver for the team. But before we talk about that, if you're enjoying the video and want to support the channel, make sure to check out our merch store at f1reverse.com and get yourself some sick F1-inspired apparel. Thanks a lot. So, with Checo gone, there is obviously a seat free at Red Bull Racing. Also, Liam Lawson still doesn't have a contract for 2025, meaning that VCARB are also without a driver for 2025 as things stand. At the moment, Red Bull hasn't officially announced who will be replacing Sergio Perez, but all the reports seem to indicate that it will be Liam Lawson who gets the call. Lawson, who drove 6 races at the end of 2024 and 5 during 2023, is said to have been told he would be promoted before the season-ending Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Frenchman Isaac Hajar, who finished second in Formula 2 this season, is expected to join VCARB alongside Japanese Yuki Tsunoda, who has been overlooked by Red Bull for a seat in the senior team. Confirmation of Lawson's place at Red Bull is expected to come pretty swiftly. Now, for Lawson, it is a fantastic opportunity, and I'm sure everyone will wish him the best in that position. But for Red Bull, it might be a terrible mistake. And what is even worse is it's one that Red Bull have made too many times before. A brief look back at the Max Verstappen era of Red Bull tells you absolutely everything you need to know about this move. When Daniel Ricciardo made the decision to leave Red Bull, perhaps because he saw that Verstappen was going to be the team's main man going forward and he couldn't contend with him, Red Bull decided to promote the very promising but still very raw Pierre Gasly to be Max's teammate. Gasly had only a season and a half of experience under his belt, 26 races to be precise. He was fast and has continued to be fast throughout his career, but he was inexperienced and wasn't mentally ready to be Verstappen's teammate. He couldn't match up to Max, so after 12 races, he was replaced with Alex Albon. It was a bad choice at the time. Gasly had done fine considering his experience level. Alex Albon proved just how bad a decision it was over the next season and a half as he failed to match up to Verstappen as well. Albon had just 12 races under his belt when Red Bull decided he was ready to be Verstappen's teammate. He wasn't ready. In 2020, Max mopped the floor with him, scoring 214 points to Alex's 105. It wasn't Alex's fault he got beaten so badly, in the same way it wasn't Gasly's fault. Red Bull put the expectation onto those two drivers that they had to be performing at Verstappen's level, which even for an experienced driver is unrealistic. See Sergio Perez's last 4 seasons. The Red Bull Academy teaches drivers that anything less than winning isn't good enough. If you aren't beating your teammate, then you're failing. Putting that mental pressure on a driver who's barely 20, who has almost no experience in Formula 1, isn't going to work. It is a mistake Red Bull have made twice already, but now they're going to put the least experienced driver so far into the Red Bull seat to be Max's teammate. Lawson has just 11 race starts to his name. What do Red Bull see in Lawson that they think he'll do better than Gasly and Albon did? He must have shown them something behind the scenes that has told them he can handle it, because on track, Lawson hasn't shown anything to suggest that he'll do any better than the other two did. What makes this decision particularly surprising is that they have Yuki Tsunoda at their disposal. With 90 race starts to his name, Yuki has the experience and maturity that Alex and Pierre didn't. He isn't the explosive, inconsistent bundle of uncontrolled talent that he was when he first entered F1. He's matured into a consistent performer who comfortably beat Nick De Vries, Daniel Ricciardo, and Liam Lawson over the past 2 seasons. Red Bull don't have to make this mistake. Yuki Tsunoda is right there, but it seems that Christian Horner is determined to make another terrible driver decision, and we shouldn't be surprised when it backfires next season. Do you agree? Is promoting Lawson doomed to fail? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.